Hey everyone, we're live here in Nourish, Heal, and Thrive. I'm so excited to bring Andy to you. Andy is just this great guy than I've been talking to. We actually met through our fitness coach. We have the same fitness coach, and Andy's got a great story. I can't wait to share it with you. But Andy, first of all, thank you so much for being here.
It's a pleasure to be here, Derek. How are you doing?
I'm doing really well, and I'm excited to talk to you. Um, let's just start from the beginning. Why don't you tell everybody a little bit about who you are, um, where you're from, because I know you're in
Yeah.
Canada, and you can talk about a little bit about what you do, and then we'll get into your whole story.
Yeah, so I'm from Alberta, Canada, and I've only lived here maybe about 6 or 7 years. And I originally grew up in BC in Canada. And then, yeah, I just been working around, working on my trade in electrical and raising a family here and enjoying life more so now than ever before. So.
That's it's really cool. Let's talk about how you're enjoying life, and maybe you can share your story now, like what was life like before compared to what you're doing now?
Yeah, so before I was just I found myself in a stuck in a cycle where you just wake up, go to work, and repeat, and then most of my days would just revolve around chasing either addiction or just pleasure through media and stuff like that, and comfort, and I had no discipline. So it was eventually I was on my first marriage, and it kind of just hitting a bottom point. And that was some rough years in my life. And then slowly, once that spiraled downward, my eating habits kind of were used as like a coping mechanism and were kind of a little bit out of control because I was up to like 300 pounds at my heaviest weight. And I just felt completely unmotivated, and my life was like going downhill fast. But fortunately, I had met my now wife, and she had two young daughters. They were quite young at the time, 5 and 7. And it taught me getting to know them taught me a lot about responsibility and the importance of thinking beyond myself. And I'm really someone that just takes it one step at a time. So I began, to change my life slowly. Um, like I would worked on cutting out my addiction problems with alcohol. So that was the first step because it was, yeah, I could work every day, but it wasn't like I could do anything else because it was had such a handle on my life. So once I started to work on that, um, my life started to turn around quickly, actually, quite well. Then we all hit the COVID-19 roadblock, and that's where I made the decision to. I hadn't settled everything with my ex-wife, and so I made the decision to just leave BC and come to Alberta and actually move in with my girlfriend and her children. And I took care of them and homeschooled them while my wife is a teacher in elementary school, and she went and did the in school learning or online learning. So once that was a major shift for me. And it was an alcohol-free household, and I knew that going into it. And I'm like, well, I'm already trying to work on myself a little bit. We'll just go in head first here.
Yeah, what was that like to just kind of dive in headfirst into?
Well, I know I have a pretty strong character, and I'm pretty motivated when I put my mind to something. And at earlier in my life, I didn't have the motivation to really do it because I was dealing with so many other negative things in my life. So it took a lot to start. But then, there's definitely some rough patches, and it wasn't just like, oh, you're done, move on with your life. It was quite the struggle. Um, so let's just see where I'm at here. Yeah, so I struggled with that, and then I moved in with my wife and the kids, and I was with them daily. And it really puts your perspective. You look at the world differently because your perspective has changed instead of just relying on yourself and and just you have to worry about these kids and your partner. And so that slowly um, made me more responsible as a person and develop my character further. Um, so eventually, after COVID was like a year in, I finalized my divorce and sold my house. And then we made a big decision to move in and purchase a house together, which we ended up doing. And I left my position because I wanted to move and change provinces. So I moved with, yeah, let's do this. Here's our mortgage payment, our down payment, and everything. And then I had no job and I was sober. And I was like, well, might as well renovate the house. And so that's what we did. I did all the electrical, all the plumbing, tore out everything down the studs and did the framing, added rooms, did the flooring, like the whole 9 yards. So that was a big project. And then fortunately, right when I had that wrapped up, I had boom, job opportunity. Fired a quick phone call and I was hired on to another employer and I was an employee at the time and started building my business. After that, I have my business Vibrant Electric, which started out as just a little sole proprietorship, but then I built it into a incorporated company. But yeah, and I've been working on that business ever since. Um,
Yeah, that's really cool. So what happened? Yeah, what happened next? Tell us about the you're at your life is like changing, right?
yeah,
So it's like confusing but exciting probably.
and
How's it
scary at the
going?
same time.
Yeah.
So once I started working again steady, which I had no work is always just something you do. Like it wasn't a problem for me, even with my struggle with addiction. But it just I just rolled with it and good things started happening. Being sober around people and not being a hungover or like not being able to perform at work was huge. And it makes your work relationships, your family relationships, your personal relationships better all the time. And you can actually accomplish stuff that you want to do because you're not held by a crutch in your life. And it relates a lot to fitness too, because I would always use food as a mechanism to cope as well. I mean, you don't get to 300 pounds without eating a lot of food and not having any control over that aspect of your life. So slowly I was at camp at work weekly, 4 days a week. And I'm like, you know what? I need to do something about my weight. I didn't have very good energy. I couldn't lift heavy weights and move around and do my job. It was starting to affect my work. And then that's when I just kind of like, okay, I went on Amazon and bought a little exercise rowing machine. And they did have a little workout room in camp, which I eventually added a lot of stuff into it. But then I just started with one little machine, just trying to get my heart rate up and a little bit of effort there. So I started that, I don't know, maybe 2 to 3 times a week just to get a little bit of motivation. And then I started to think about what I'm actually eating. And being in a camp work situation, you could have candy bars, you can have ice cream, you can have chips as much as you want. So that was a little bit difficult, but eventually I just kind of made my diet healthier and made healthier choices. But I was just kind of just doing it on my own. So eventually, I only got so far with doing the little bits of cardio, and I'm like, finally, I maybe I lost 20, 30 pounds, and I'm like, okay, I got to do a little bit more exercise, and I'm like, well, I could start lifting weights, I guess. Yeah, I think I'll try that. So I started, doing the rowing machine, and then, oh, I'm gonna throw in a weightlifting session here this week. But I didn't know what I was doing either. I hadn't worked out since I was a kid.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. So what I'm wondering is what was that decision or what was that thing in your head that said, "Hey, okay, maybe it's time to throw in some weights or some kind of resistance training." What was that factor?
well, I knew that exercise would help me get me started, help to get me started, but I knew there was going to be a limit, and I knew that I would have to put more effort into it if I wanted to be successful at changing my lifestyle and changing my body at that point. And some of the guys had mentioned it to me as well. And there was one guy there that did work out, a couple times a week on weights. And so it was like, okay, I can see him doing it. Why can't I start doing it a little bit? So that's what I started doing. And I started off like 3 times a week, and I started seeing a little bit, the new results that you get right away. And especially because I haven't done weight training since my 20s. Like I was never a fit person. I'm probably the most fit I've been today than I have ever been, which is huge. Um,
Yeah,
so,
congratulations. That is
oh,
huge.
thank you. Thanks, Derek. So then finally, after just, the internet's so full of exercise and what you can do and your diet, especially, because diet is a huge struggle for me. And I'm sure it is for a lot of other people. But I was interested in doing a 4-day split to kind of like isolate my body, my muscle groups, just because I found it kind of doing 3 workouts on your whole body took a lot of time. And I was like, I need to make this not take as long, but still be really effective. And then as a newer lifter, you're always like, I don't need to do legs. They're I'll avoid some of the stuff I don't feel like doing. So there's always some of that too. And really I wanted a well-rounded physique that didn't have any real gaps. And I'm still working on myself. I'm not saying that have a great physique, but I'm still working on myself. So I went to a local bodybuilding gym in a town over, and he recommended um, training 4 days a week. And I found just a quick Google search a split to do, and I started experimenting with that. And then I saw better results with that training. And then I think at that point I'd lost around 60 pounds, which was huge because when you lose 60 pounds, you go in from a 3XL to a 2XL, and your clothes start fitting again. So it was really, you see the results. And when you look at yourself in the mirror, you can tell. And you hold up your old clothes and you can tell huge. So 60 pounds was like a big milestone for me there. And then I was fasting a lot with my eating because I was like, oh, let's try the fasting trend here. It's got to be good. I've known people personally that I worked with that had done that and achieved a lot of weight loss, and it worked for them. So I thought, "Yeah, I'll give it a try." But the problem I had with that is I could will myself through the hunger, and then I would eat a huge plate of food at 5 o'clock
Uh,
and then go work out. And then I would be like, yeah, one meal. I wouldn't snack. I already had my snacking down, so it wasn't a problem in the evenings, which uh, a lot of people say that you hear it all the time. In the evenings, I can't, I'm just hungry and I need to eat something. I just can't do it. So I worked on
that,
that.
that was me too. Like I would have
Yeah.
a bowl of cereal. I loved just having a bowl of cereal every
Oh,
night.
I love cereal.
So, and actually, that's the one thing I kind of miss because I've given it up and I do kind of miss it. But
Yeah. I still, just bought a box of Lucky Charms for my kids yesterday. let them enjoy it for a couple of years here.
Oh, there you go. You know what I heard about, we'll get back to your story, but
Yeah.
somebody I saw on social media somewhere, they put egg white, the egg beater stuff, instead of milk, so they get more protein in their
Oh,
cereal.
that's interesting.
Yeah.
I I don't know if I would like, do they cook it or is it just raw?
No, the egg white, the egg beater stuff, then the package is pasteurized, so it's healthy. I mean, it's
Oh,
fine to eat.
okay.
And
Yeah.
it's fine to eat. Cool. I've tried it. It's actually not bad. It's not quite as good as milk, but it's not bad.
Hey, and if you're getting extra protein in, that's good for you.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
But they
And
say not
it's
to. So go ahead.
every little bit it takes to build up your daily amount, so
Yeah,
it helps.
yeah. Cool. So let's get back to you. So,
Okay. So then yeah, I was down 60 pounds and I was working out 5 days a week. That's what I had worked up to was 5 days a week. And then I started incorporating some cardio in at that time. And I was fasting but I would like get off work and I'll go to sleep. After I'd go work out, go to sleep. 7 o'clock. I'm done. So that lasted, I think it was 6 months I did that. In 6 months, that was quite a long time of every day not eating until five
yeah,
o'clock. And it was that was really mentally hard to do that. Let me tell you. And especially if you use food as a comfort item,
sure.
like I did. But yeah, then I ran in to one of my friends and he suggested Lee Hayward's program, which I'm a huge fan of Lee right now and his program, and I'm on his program, the VIP Blueprint After 40. And so I researched his program. I liked that he had proven results of real people, and that, I figured in my mind, if I'm pretty disciplined, if I can just stick with it, I know there will be a result. And that's right. Like with Lee, I'm down 20 pounds with Lee and feeling amazing. And I've put on muscle and I have way more energy with his nutrition program. So Lee's basic view on nutrition, from my understanding, is that it's just you eat a portion of vegetables, a portion of protein, and a portion of carbs. And you just try and make your meals balanced. And you I like some people eat more meals depending on what they want. I usually eat 3 meals a day and maybe one snack, like a protein bar and an apple is usually like a snack in a day. So, and I like that. You can eat fruit, like an apple or whole fruits and whole vegetables. I go through a lot of vegetables and it's good.
Yeah. I remember Lee told me once, is like, I've never seen anyone get fat from eating too many fruits and vegetables. So
Yeah,
eat as
all the
much as you
time.
want.
Yeah, so today I'm down to 215 from 300 pounds.
Amazing.
And it's I have so much more energy. Like that was one of the big motivators is I didn't have energy and I couldn't lift stuff and move it around when I was working and without gasping for air. And now I can go, 30, 40 minutes on a treadmill with barely breaking a sweat. And it's just through building your endurance slowly over time. And I've never ever been a runner, but I don't really know if I want to do running, but I'm sure I could if I put my mind to it. My knees aren't the best from being 300 pounds and working all the time. But
Yeah,
trades are hard on your body sometimes.
sure. That's quite a story, Andy.
Yeah,
Really amazing. Congratulations on how much weight is that? 70
that's
pounds?
that's 85.
85
Yeah,
pounds.
85 pounds.
Amazing.
Yeah,
So great. So I don't even, it's like almost a person
I know.
you're down. So
And it's funny because I was going through my laundry the other day and I still found a 3XL shirt and I held it up and I was like, wow, you
yeah,
know, I took my wife to the gym yesterday and I only found an old pair of shorts. They were the tightest shorts when I was that big. And I'm swimming in them.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's crazy. And then just, you know, if you have a physical physique, like, and you walk into a room, people will notice too, and they'll treat you differently.
sure.
And that's like part of another reason why is because I wanted to display sort of and build my body so people would know that I'm a disciplined person. Like I was always a disciplined person, but I was just not applying it properly. I guess if that makes sense.
Totally makes sense.
Yeah.
I think I was with you too, like, because I'd always been the type of person, I always worked out and went to the gym. But even though I was doing that and I thought I was eating healthy, I wasn't really, but I thought I was eating on the healthy side. And I still gained a ton of weight. And then, it took me, starting with Lee and some other things in order to get the weight off. So,
Yeah. It's definitely been a long road and it hasn't been an easy one for sure. If I could say anything to anybody, it would be, you know, just be consistent and stick with it. You might think that I can't drop below the certain weight. I'm stuck here. I was like that at 240 pounds before I joined Lee. I was stuck there for like months and months, and I'm like, I cannot get any lower. Why? Something's like I'm not doing something right. And you get frustrated, and then you feel like giving up. But then you're like, no, I'm too stubborn.
yeah. Yeah. Yeah, so, but thank you for sharing everything. And I don't want to take too much of your time today, but I do want to,
Yeah.
and I would like you to share like how it feels to be so much lighter, not have to carry all that weight around, and
Oh,
and maybe
like
what your goal is.
yeah. Okay. So like I remember because I still worked at that same job and that would go back to the same areas from when I was heavy. And I remember this flight of stairs I was like struggled to get up, just struggling. And I can just run up it, you know? Like what's the difference there? It's like that's mentally huge. As soon as I ran up that set of stairs after a couple years, I texted Lee. I'm like, Lee, I just went up this flight of stairs. I could barely go up that. You know,
Yeah.
and mentally you're like it builds you back up to who you know you are inside. It gives you that confidence and that motivation and like, yes, I can do this stuff. I am capable of doing all this stuff I want to do. I can go to work. I can work out at the gym and play with my family all in one day. And that for your quality of life and your relationships in your life, that is huge to be able to do that. And then my end goal here is um, eventually, well, I just want to keep going to see where my body is going to level out because I know I still have weight to lose, but I'm not sure because I've always been a big kid, like since I was 10 and I'm 40, 41 now, 40 now. The years are adding up. I'm 40 now. So I don't know what it's like. I haven't had the experiences of being under 200 pounds as an adult, which is only 15 pounds away. So it's definitely achievable. I set it in my phone as my next goal.
You can,
So
it's definitely going to happen. I can't wait for it to happen, actually. I'm so excited for you.
yeah. And then I just want to keep building up muscle and just seeing where that takes me. And I'm happy, going and getting out and doing the exercise and doing the work. Once you've once it becomes a habit, it becomes something you look forward to. It's not just a chore anymore. It's like, man, I've really had a bad day. You know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna go put on some music and go do some cardio, go do some weightlifting, go have fun. If you really don't feel like doing your day, just go do something you want to enjoy and do. It doesn't have to be set in stone. It can be whatever you want it to be.
So great advice. Love it.
Yeah.
Love it. And we're so excited for you, and we know you're going to get under that 200 pounds and you're going to look even more amazing than you do right now.
Oh, thank you so much, Derek.
So it's so great. Such a great story. And thank you for sharing it with everybody here today.
Yeah, it's been a pleasure.
Yeah, awesome. So everybody who's watching, if you really liked what Andy said today, if you're inspired by his story, I know I am, just put in the comments, something. Say hello to him, say congratulations, say way to go, whatever it takes. Um, maybe Andy will answer it. Andy, is there anything else that you'd want to share or have any last words for everybody?
Um, just it's I recognize how deep an impact that addiction and unhealthy behaviors and living is on individuals and people in our society. And it's just unfortunate that there's so much money and influence in those areas.
Mm.
But if my story could be used to help inspire you, let it inspire you. And I'm proud to break the cycle of addiction and just not not being as productive as you could in how you want to live your life is what I'm feeling here.
Awesome.
So,
Awesome. Really good advice. So,
yeah.
and definitely you're an inspiration to us all. So thank you for being here. Thanks everybody for watching. Like I said, comment if you resonate with Andy and he inspired you. And if you want to be highlighted and spotlighted in the group, just like Andy, put interview in the comments and we'll share your story, share your gifts, and share your struggles. So thanks everybody, and we'll see everybody at the next one.